So I finally got some got cream for that rash.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you believe it's December?
No, I can't believe it's December, but here we are.
2020, that year that happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a weird one. Brett Crawford. For those who are thinking that we're all just messed up because Boats is, are we not live streaming?
We're not. We're on the Instagram live, so people are paying attention and getting good audio at this point.
Hello.
Wonderful. Yeah, we keep trying new. We had one layer of complexity every episode.
That's nice.
Yeah.
By the episode 52, you're on like the International Space Station.
I was thinking Trump Tower.
Trump Tower.
Yeah.
The source
it's one step below the International Space Station.
You mean where all the ooze comes from in Ghostbusters 2?
Is that what I don't remember.
I don't know. That's where it probably like all that evil ooze, right? Where they're like
the
sewer, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I can hear myself.
Whoa.
Wow. It's like Inception.
Is that on YouTube? Are we live? Okay. All right.
Oh.
Brett, for anybody who knows, I guess the long history of Plug Your Holes, either been here the whole time or just creeped into the back into the past. Gosh, I don't even. So Brett was with us. I mean, you worked for us for a few years.
Yeah.
Big time on the YouTubes.
Mm-hmm.
Went on a Warped Tours.
Uh-huh.
How many years has it been? It's been like 6 years?
I left in 14.
Yeah, 6 years. Holy
Yeah,
shit. Yeah.
beginning of 14.
Because I remember it was right about the time we did a Broadway.
Yeah. I helped paint it.
Yes, you did.
And then never worked there.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
That awful orange and blue. Which,
Red,
if I'm not mistaken,
it was red and blue.
Red and blue.
The orange and the green was up front. It looked like Nickelodeon up front, and it looked like a high school cafeteria in the
That's
back.
right. It did look. It felt because it had that slab.
Cinder blocks.
Cinder blocks. Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually just telling his wife yesterday, or the day before maybe, that I have the hardest time visualizing what a color will look like on a wall. So I just pick colors I think are cool and hope for the best. And a lot of times it does not work out that way. So I definitely have to trust my wife or my friends or people when it comes to color picking because I'm not the color picker. I can't do it. Yeah, I can visualize other things.
Well, when he had Bangarang, that was cool because it was easy. It was like orange.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, everything was orange.
Let's just paint the walls orange.
Also
You owned
kind
a
of
fucking
Nickelodeon.
store for a while.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
That's pretty wild. Yeah, I remember. So I left in 2014, moved up there to Chicago.
Oh, eating the brats up there in Chicago.
Yeah, I did that.
No ketchup.
That whole thing for 6 years, and then COVID. You know, who knew that COVID was going to be so bad for live entertainment?
Yeah. Just to fill people in, you were in the live. As a matter of fact, I feel like everybody who works for Plug Your Holes, everybody who's ever been on the podcast, in some way, shape, or form, we've all been in live events.
Yeah, I think
for
so.
the majority of our lives, and so we're all, I think Plug Your Holes has been a little bit of a life raft to a couple people who didn't have jobs through this. But,
oh my God.
But then we just all have a lot to talk about because we all have a perception of this that part of the economy.
Sure.
I think the only people that haven't been in the entertainment industry has been Kelsey and Josh because he's an electrician.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and Kelsey's our youngest.
Shocking.
Oh, and Emma.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
She's like a nurse.
No, she's a nurse and
Yeah.
actually saves
Nice.
people.
But pretty much everybody else, at least in some way, shape, or form, they've at least worked at the Truman or something, So.
Yeah, no, and so I was doing the social and digital media for Metro and Smart Bar and G-Man up in Chicago, and then it was like, almost 9 months ago that the last show I saw was Every Time I Die and Nothing at Metro.
Not a bad way to go out.
No, I got the poster and I had my, sticker pass and stuff, and came home that night and the governor announced like a ban on gatherings over 1,000 people, which now you look at like those restrictions and you're like, we were fucking idiots, but, and then it was Friday. I
don't know about idiots. Have you been to Missouri? Oh, wait. Our governor doesn't do a goddamn thing. It's only the mayor's doing anything down here.
I know. Mayor Q, which he's going to be on our programming on Friday. But, regardless, it was like Friday the 13th, Drive-By Truckers was supposed to play. They had 2 sold-out nights at Metro, and they announced that morning, they're like, hey, we're not going to do this show. And then it was slowly the dominoes just tick, 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 all the way through the spring. And then we were so optimistic as to think that we would have this under control by, like, September. That we're our spring calendar is ruined, but the fall, dude, just wait. We're going to make all that money back up. And then I think I got officially furloughed on June 28th or something. It was like the end of June when our PPP loan finally ran out, which we were super lucky. Apparently, like, we had a good accountant that like read the writing on the wall and like submitted our paperwork like really quickly, so we kind of got a lifeline there. And then Tessa, my fiance, and I.
Congratulations, by the way.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. But yeah, we looked at Nashville. We had originally last December, we were talking about moving to New York City.
Okay.
She had some opportunities that were coming up there. We have a few friends out there as well. And then, COVID was just like, oh my God, they brought a fucking Navy ship or whatever, like into the harbor.
Ship.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm not going to New York right now.
No. Well, I mean, hey, if you want to move to New York, now is the best time to get yourself a flat, because they're like
you get a COVID discount.
Yeah,
you get like $20 off. That's it.
Dude, I guess in Chicago too. I guess the prices of rentals in Chicago have just plummeted.
You would think that would be the case everywhere. Honestly, the hip neighborhoods in Chicago, which I admittedly was living in, not that much difference. Okay. The thing is like you have a lot of like up and coming areas where like development has just stopped. Mm-hmm. So your property values that you thought were going to go up are coming down, and as well the fucking mayor in Chicago is like trying to raise property taxes again to like account for this huge deficit.
Right.
So, I'm really glad to be out of a city that relies so heavily on taxing its citizens to like get away with anything as well, not to mention all the fucking terrible corrupt police brutality, but moving to Kansas City was a nice option. Get to be closer to friends, get to be closer to people that, we're related to and stuff.
Has it been bittersweet to be close to your friends but not be able to hang out with them due to the circumstances?
They still hang out. They still do wings.
Yeah, the outside stuff. But, it's like that idea of like, man, it would have been great to be able to go like invite you to come watch football with us at Tower on Sundays.
Oh, my God.
Like all the normal shit, and none of that's around this year.
It'll happen.
It will happen.
And I'm happy to be back. Mostly because I think Kansas City is a city that's really ripe with opportunity, and I think that there's a lot of people here that have been working, yourselves included, in turning Kansas City into a modern place to live.
Right, with modern industry.
I think for so many years, Kansas City was, it's just perceived as a flyover town. It was even second to St. Louis. People would
anybody who's been to St. Louis and Kansas City, there is no contest. Kansas City is a way better place to live.
Yeah. Dude, 100%.
One of my favorite things, I saw somebody tweet at somebody the other day, and they're like, "Hey, I know you're not from St. Louis, but hey, do you have any recommendations for a good barbecue in St. Louis?" And the person's, "Yeah, no problem. You get on I-70 and you drive west for 4 hours." And you get off literally any exit, and the barbecue's better. So, yeah.
Really good.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. I think Kansas City's really turned a corner in a lot of ways, and like the revitalization of like downtown, and love or hate the Power and Light District. I think it was a way to kind of focus people's attention on the downtown sector, because I don't know. You guys.
I've been here
neither of you are from here, so
right.
When I was growing up here, you never had a reason to go downtown ever.
And even half of downtown's still pretty much like that.
Right, it's still like a ghost town, but
which never makes sense to me. Like, just put fucking stores in those buildings. Yeah, that's what New York does. You go to buildings, a big building, but what's on the bottom? Stores. That's it.
Right, and I think I was listening to something on 90.1 the other day about this. And it was Kansas City was built with no public transportation infrastructure.
Right,
but it was built in this industrial way where it was like all the industry was confined to one area, and then everyone else just lived outside the area, and you had to have a car or you had to have some way to get to your home, because people, when they were building out the city in like the 30s, 40s, and 50s, they wanted their space. Mm-hmm. And so you then had like buildings that weren't zoned to have businesses on the ground floor.
Well, half the buildings that are currently lofts and apartments downtown, and even in the Crossroads and Midtown and stuff, those were all like, when I lived down there, I was living in an old Levi's factory. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it was industry purposed. I mean, you look at the trains, they went right through the Crossroads. Right. Everything down there was meant to be it was all business.
It was utilitarian, right?
Yeah,
and Kansas City was like, for years, it was the last stop before you went west, So like everything came from the coast to here and then went out west. So I think now is the time, which is very serendipitous that I'm putting on this event with my company this week. But now's the time to like get your shit back to Kansas City, and like if you've got an idea for a company, bring it here, because people are like leaping at the opportunity to invest. People want to help you like make your company a success, because it is 100% that rising tide mentality where if everything good is coming into the city and we're all a part of it, then we're all going to elevate ourselves. Mm-hmm. So yeah, did I ever think, if you'd have told me when I moved to Chicago 6 years ago that I'd be back in 2020, I probably would have laughed or told you to fuck off. But yeah, I think my perception has changed a whole lot since I left. I thought I had to like prove myself. You know, to like get out of my hometown or something stupid.
That's even why I went here.
Listening to Wonder Years too much.
Yeah, right. No, when I left Duluth, Minnesota, everybody just goes to Minneapolis.
Oh, sure.
And it becomes like just like where everybody grows up to. You know, like the population of Duluth has been shrinking for 30 years, but the population of Minneapolis has been growing by the exact same number. You know what I mean? It's just everybody goes down there.
Right.
And you know, I knew that like my hometown was pretty dead, especially for any like new ideas and stuff at the time. And but yeah, Minneapolis just didn't do it for me. You know, Kansas City, I think had more opportunity. The cost of living is better. Minneapolis is so sprawled out. You know, everybody has to commute 45 minutes to get to work if you work anything centralized. And at the end of the day, I just wanted to go to my own, and especially with my wife and stuff. She being from Chicago, and obviously somebody who chose to leave. We just decided, let's do something new. Worst case scenario, we can always go somewhere else.
Right.
But we liked Kansas City at the time. You and I were playing music together, and it seemed like a good idea to get our heads together. Oh, the Humanity, yeah. Actually, fucking Josh Barber just like tagged me in something from Oh, the Humanity the other day.
I saw Waldy comment on that on Facebook, and I was surprised. I think Josh Barber finally unblocked me on Facebook, so that's...
Wow, you guys are going back to becoming friends.
Baby steps.
He texted me yesterday and was like, hey, mind if I pop by and say hey and all this stuff? I'm like, literally any other day but Cyber Monday. And this is just clearly you are unaware what e-commerce is like on
dude, he doesn't. He's too busy making gold records.
Yeah, he's another one, by the way. At the beginning of this whole thing was just like, this will be over in a couple months, we'll be fine. Like I think he told me in April that they're like, we're booked out. You know, we just bumped everything up 2 months. This will all be gone by then. And I was just like,
wishful thinking.
I don't know. But he's plenty busy. You know, you get just a couple dudes in a room together, and you know, it's a pretty good way to waste time through a pandemic. But
well, and you know, it's like if you trust the people and you know, are in a band and you have that kind of mission, I think everyone can be convinced to like chill for a couple weeks or like get tested and come into the studio. Whereas, you know, you just people, I get so fucking weird about it. And I feel like I'm crazy sometimes when I'm like, I'm not coming to your house, man. Like my buddy that I knew from years and years ago, he bought a guitar for his daughter for Christmas, and she's left-handed. And he's like, hey, they don't make lefties in the color that she wants. Do you want to come over and help me paint it? And I was like, yeah, we can do it outside. He's like, no, just come over to my basement. And I was like, okay, like, maybe. And I was like, you know, hey, not to be rude, but like, is it cool if you wear your mask while you're with me? And he's like, well, I'm in my own house. And I'm just like,
yeah, but so am I.
I'm like, yeah, dude, well, get the fuck out of here. Like, I don't just, if you want me to come over and help you, just like, let's both wear masks and like, this will take an hour. Sorry. Thank you, you know, or just I had to pass. He was the same guy that actually invited me to his office for cigars and drinks 2 weeks prior.
Okay. And
I told him, I was like, is this an outdoor thing? And he's like, no. And I'm like, well, I'm really, you know, I don't like get together and do that kind of thing unless it's like, you know, somewhat safe or outside.
Right.
I mean, it's smart. That's what people should be doing.
Right.
It's taking that stance, and I feel like people just feel like, oh, okay, you're just being corny or whatever. Like, no, you need to take that seriously.
Totally.
And
yeah, I think, I mean, there's been a couple things, like as far as the rhetoric goes, the entire time that we've been pretty adamant about here. The first one, because, you know, at the end of the day, I don't lay awake at night worrying about getting it. If I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't.
Right.
I'm worried about giving it to other people.
I'm worried about giving it to other people, shutting down my business, shutting down my daughter's school.
Oh my God.
And overwhelming the healthcare system.
Right.
So those are my bigger concerns. The odds are I will survive.
Well, yeah, sure, and I think that's
I'm a betting man, so I'm playing the odds. But at the same time, the odds are also that I will spread it unknowingly.
Right.
That I will potentially cause myself great financial harm. That I will cause my school, you know, my daughter's school to shut down, and that I will potentially be taking a hospital bed or providing or giving it to somebody who will take a hospital bed that somebody else can't.
Yeah, for sure. And so a little bit of perspective. I mean, I know Cameron's wife Zoila is healthcare and is on the front line. Tessa, my fiance's mom and brother, both work for KU Med.
Okay.
So it's like very, very close people to my core, you know, circle are all fighting the shit. My sister's in Oklahoma City. She's a nurse practitioner and the head of the nursing division for her hospital. Mm-hmm. She just is like, I'm over it. I can't quit, but things are going to get worse now before they get better because
the holidays.
Because of the holidays,
insane.
And everyone just can't be fucking bothered to like tell Granny, hey, I love you, but not this year, you
Right.
know? And like 3 or 4 people, I get it, that's fine. Like, but I mean, we literally, Tessa and I drove to Olathe to see her folks outside, just like say hey, kind of visit for a little bit, and then grab like a to-go box of food that they had made for themselves. They're like, oh, well, you guys can just we'll cook for you, we'll take it home, reheat it. And we pull up, and her fucking next door neighbors had 8 cars in the driveway.
Oh yeah, the house directly, like basically a kitty corner for me, across my street and one house over. Throughout the day, probably 25 cars.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah.
And I look at them and I'm like, damn, that doesn't.
I'm literally witnessing a spreader event, like across the street from me, and I'm just super thankful that they have a little girl as well, and I'm just thankful that little girl is like way younger than Atlee, so there's not even like that whole like now we have to go tell them you can't play, because we already had to do that once. So there's 3 girls. 2 houses over from the house, there's a little girl that's Atlee's age, and then directly next to us, there's a little girl that's Atlee's age, and they're all thick as thieves. And all of our families have been like, hey, you know, we are a part of our bubble.
Right.
And they all work from home, so it's been pretty easy peasy the whole time. And our distance learning and all that other stuff. But the one of the girls across the street was around someone who had it, and it was instantly cut it off, and 2 weeks quarantine or a negative test, and
it's also crazy to me that people won't get tested. Have you met people like that?
Mm-hmm. I've ran into the challenge of getting tested. Like when we thought maybe Atlee was exposed to it at her school, they won't test anybody under 11.
That's they see that whole thing
so stupid.
Yeah, dude.
But yeah, I've ran into people who won't. People who won't get tested, that's stupid. People who won't wear masks, that's stupid.
I got in a fight with almost a physical altercation with a man in a QuikTrip about a mask.
Ooh.
And it was like a bad day.
Same with me at Price Chopper.
Yeah?
That's wild to me.
Mike with the mic.
Mike with the mic. Yeah, dude. So I was at and this is months ago. Like we had just moved to Kansas City.
Because you moved in like June, right?
We moved the end of June, the 26th, like right before my PPP expired. And adopted a dog 2.5 weeks later, and I think it was in July. We were driving out to the burbs, and we stopped at a QuikTrip, and there's this hippy dippy looking motherfucker like in front of me, and I notice he pushes the door open. He's not wearing a mask, and of course there's signs everywhere.
Pushes it open like.
He just kind of like pushes it in, and he looks like imagine your stereotypical like 90s stoner movie protagonist. Like he looks. He's got the hair.
I have a visual in my mind, yeah.
Yeah, and he kind of walks in, and I like kind of hang for a second outside to see which direction he's going, because I'm going for the fountain drinks, because it's hot as shit. And he goes straight to the bathroom and was like, all right, bet. So I walk in, everyone else masked, cool. I get my Diet Coke. I get Tessa her Rooster Booster bullshit. And then I'm like, oh, the roller station's back open, because they were closed for a long time. Those little, like, the hot dogs.
Yeah, you can't get your buffalo chicken dicks.
So I'm like, you know what? I'll grab a snack. So I like walk over, and I'm like getting a taquito, and this dude comes up right next to me. And I'm just like, oh, fuck. Like I literally say that out loud. He's like, what's up, bro? And I was like, oh, what are we doing? No mask now? And he's like, yeah, dude, medically exempt. And I just look, and I'm at this point, I've like walked around to the other side, and I'm like still looking at him. I was like, what'd you fall and hit your fucking head? And he's just like, excuse me? And I was like, what are you not wearing a mask, man? It's not that hard. He's like, you know why you're wearing that thing, right? And I was like, so I don't get sick? He's like, no, so you don't get me sick. And I was like, oh, so we just trust you. The rest of us have to wear our masks. He's like, yeah, bro. Is it going to be that kind of day? And I'm just like, fuck you. And I just leave. I put my shit down on the roller station, and I just left. And I got back to the car, and Tessa's like, oh, no.
What happened?
What happened? Where's the shit?
I've strangely like avoided most of the I haven't avoided it. So first of all, I'm going to preface this. I don't go anywhere. So that's like true. Costco is about as wild as it gets for me, and it's
very wild,
nice and big and open, and I go every week or two. And I've seen a couple of people like the time I went right before the election. I went at like 11 on a Tuesday or some shit, and there's definitely a very particular type of person in there. A lot of MAGA hats,
a lot of tinfoil hats,
a lot of stuff. But for the most part, it's been a pretty civil thing up there, and they do a lot of good enforcement and stuff.
You go to the one over downtown?
No, I live up north now, so I go to the one up north, up in Gladstone. So
nice. We have two right by here. There's one like they're both one straight down.
We have like 6 in the metro area.
It's really crazy.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
But they're like the same distance from the office.
Are you the closest one to St. Joe?
No. Well, maybe, yeah. You know what? Actually, mine might be the closest one to St. Joe.
I was gonna say, I bet you get a lot of fucking crazy people from St. Joe out there.
Well, what I was gonna say about that, my doctor's in Platte City. The physical therapist used to be up in Weston or whatever.
Gotcha.
But I bought a car up in Cameron. There's just been a couple things where I've had to venture out into the nether regions of the state of Missouri.
Yeah.
And
I love Cameron, Missouri, by the way.
They do not love their masks. I saw probably 200 people, between, people entering stores, coming out of stores. I had to go to a bank to do money exchange with this guy. And not one person. And this is a while ago. This is May, June-ish. So it was a little different. But Laura's had to go up to St. Joe. I've had to go up to Platte City. No masks. And that's fairly recently. And even here at Plug Your Holes, we slowly just kind of like added more layers of safety, as like if you're on the shipping floor and you're within 6 feet of anybody, you're gonna be walking through people's air, or vice versa. Put on a mask. Yeah. And then kind of if you're sitting at your desk up here, we have fucking 10,000 square feet. You can socially distance real well in here.
That's a good brag though.
Sure.
Just kidding.
But then but we just expanded our space so that we can spread it out even further. So we've just really tried to compartmentalize and stuff. And I just look at this whole thing the entire time. I'm just like, yeah, common sense. Like that's all I go with. Like,
yeah, it's not hard.
And like I said earlier, I'm a betting man. You know what I mean? Like,
where's my camera?
I don't know, whichever one
this one
he has you on right now. I don't know.
Wear your mask and stop being a shit.
Yeah,
it's not hard.
You can say it to Instagram too. My phone. So look at that one.
That's what I was looking at.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we looking at this? This is a fisheye.
Yeah. Or wide angle.
That's the fisheye.
Why do I feel like I'm on the set of a porn shoot?
I think that's a you problem.
I had to pay bills in Chicago.
Well, hey, you do what you got to do, but
I will do anything at this point, and I mean,
We got some questions on the chat line from someone named Cameron Birdsall.
Oh, hey.
Cameron Birdsall.
He says, QuikTrip beef is the best. But what's your favorite roller item?
My favorite roller item, and I get this question a lot. Great question. Was it Shamrock? Shamrock. Yeah. My favorite QuikTrip roller item is the corn dog.
Okay.
That's pretty basic.
I'm eccentric. I like my food basic.
And Ahsoka the Plug is watching. So anyone that's watching this, go follow him, especially those on Instagram Live.
Wait, what are your guys' favorites?
Buffalo chicken dicks for sure.
That's a good one, but there's so much cheese in those.
And there's so much grease.
I don't like them because I'm from New York and I don't eat that trash.
For a long time, I used to get those on Thanksgiving. I would run out on Thanksgiving and buy firewood, and then pop in a QT, grab a buffalo chicken dick, and just be like, yeah, my day is set.
Actually, I like the egg rolls a lot. Unpopular opinion.
Never had them.
They're good.
They seem highly suspect.
No, they're great.
All that shit is highly suspect. Don't eat it.
No.
It's garbage.
All right.
It's garbage.
You ever had a buffalo chicken dick?
Yes, I have.
They're
it
delicious.
tastes like a crunchy fucking.
They have Nashville hot chicken taquitos now that fuck.
Ooh.
Okay, I'd fuck
They
with
also have real food everywhere else in the world.
Yeah, but it's not 2 for $2.22.
Are you the type of person that like gets upset when someone calls like chicken nuggets boneless chicken wings?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not a chicken wing.
Samson Turnsquall says he's a classic chicken taquito.
Okay.
Or a bacon, egg, and cheese only for Joe. Yes, thank you.
Bacon, egg, and cheese is good.
Bacon, egg, and cheese with salt, pepper, ketchup.
Wow. Ketchup on eggs? Fuck you.
They do it. That's what the deli does.
No, that's
you gotta do it. Yeah,
no,
bacon, egg, and cheese, salt, pepper, ketchup.
Ketchup is gross on everything.
Hey, let me get a chopped cheese.
But they just do a little bit of ketchup.
No
it's
ketchup,
like
no
this,
ketchup, no
like
ketchup.
This thing.
No, what is that? Do you do that again? That's quite soothing. You should do ASMR videos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like that sound. You can stop that right now. I've had things and you need to stop.
Welcome to the podcast.
So where's your line with convenience food? Like you went to gas station, but will you do like Starbucks, a restaurant that was never designed to serve you food?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just feel like the open container things, because I just don't trust people. Okay, because there was this one story that I remember seeing on the news as a kid about this guy that went to Sizzler. He was a homeless guy and like had
fucking
AIDS.
Sizzler.
And like pissed and like put blood and stuff in like a
1984?
spray bottle and like sprayed it all over the fucking.
That's not true.
The salad bar.
This sounds like an old wives' tale.
And then I never wanted to eat that shit again. So like I kind of have mixed feelings. Every time I'm at like like all you can eat place, I just think of fucking that guy spraying his pee-pee everywhere.
To be fair.
So now I never eat at gas station because there's 100% of a chance that someone's already done that.
I hope the pandemic puts buffets out of business.
Whoa, hey, coming in hot.
Full stop.
But just one more thing on
What
that.
about
It's
the
like,
people that own
what do
those
you do when you go to a
buffets?
gas station? You're stopping. What's the second thing that people do when they go to that gas station?
Shit and piss.
They go to the fucking bathroom.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
true.
And what do you want to know? They're probably not washing their hands.
I don't go to the
And
bathroom,
they're touching
especially
all
if
that
it's.
shit that you're getting that taquito with. So now you're getting poo-poo
That's why I
taquitos.
don't. I actually
Oh,
don't
wow.
use the tongs when I go to QuikTrip.
Oh yeah, just use my bare
I
hands.
put my pinky. I put my pinky in the hole of the taquito, and then I go up to the register like I've got witch's finger.
Yeah, that's treat them like they're ranch bugles.
1, 2, 3, 4, and then I go for my wallet, and they all fall off.
Yeah.
Boats agrees that ketchup and eggs are delicious.
Oh,
Ketchup and eggs
no.
are fine. You know
No,
what?
it's
I don't
gross.
give a shit about how you eat your eggs. The fact that you eat the unborn ovum of a mammal is disgusting.
What? It's not unborn. It's not fertilized. It's just it would have never
It
turned
is.
into a chicken.
It is. Do you know how eggs work? Because actually, I don't.
Yes, I do.
Next topic. Who do you think has the best chance of winning the Super Bowl, and why is it the Kansas City Chiefs?
Yeah, but it's the Chiefs. I don't think anybody. I mean, I think the Steelers are the next in line probably.
Steelers are looking hot.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about them though.
Every team, like the NFC though, is a complete crapshoot because like I have no idea what team is going to suck it through the playoffs enough to get to the fucking Super Bowl in the NFC. It could be the Saints. It could be fucking Seahawks. It could be.
I tell you what, I really did enjoy.
Not going to be the Vikings. That's
I
for
did
damn
enjoy
sure.
watching crying Tom Brady lose on Sunday.
It is a little. Yeah, it brings me some peace.
It's nice. It's also
Yeah.
nice to see him in some different colors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good color scheme too. I mean, I think he went there for the fashion choice. I think his wife made the decision. It's like you're going to look good in that color. This is how you want to be remembered, not that fucking silver helmet.
Is it? But he's a Trumper though, right?
Is he? I don't even know. I don't even know who's a Trumper or not.
I just get. I feel like every day it's like some fresh hell where I find out that someone is like a Trumper or an anti-masker or like even an anti-vaxxer, which like
Yeah.
get fucked, dude. And like all those poor QAnon people, like what are they gonna do now?
They're going to continue to create conspiracies.
2024, bro.
2024.
Oh, man.
We can't. That's
No
going to be
idea.
the best. That's all we're going to hear for the next 4 years. 2024 is going to be.
2024. You know what? And
Talking to the microphone, Brett. You keep
Oh.
talking to Mike like he's the mic.
sorry.
This is why I wear
yeah.
the headphones so I can know when I can't hear.
That's good. No, that's good. That's good feedback. I appreciate that. I lost my train of thought.
Trumpers, anti-vaxxers.
Oh yeah, no, I think it's really interesting as well because like so many people now have been exposed in my even in my personal life of just people that I'm like, oh, you're an idiot. I'm like, I had no idea that this is sad, and then I just go unfriend and I leave it at that. Some people are like, oh, you shouldn't unfriend them. You should try and talk to them. It's like I simply do not care. That
Okay.
Well, I grew up on Staten Island, the one red dot on all of New York.
Yeah.
So
which is
I'd
wild.
probably have to unfollow every single human being that I grew up with, including my best friends. Like
damn really.
Radimus and Paul. And
Rad's a Trumper?
he was at the fucking
He was at a rally.
rally with this kid with no mask on.
I just love the idea that a bunch of like people that own land on Staten Island like think it's important to own land on Staten Island. No offense.
Yeah, no, it's fine. My parents bought it in 1970 when there were still dirt roads down in fucking South Beach. So,
You're like,
seriously,
I'm
that
from
was a
New
thing.
York.
They're like, we're gonna move to the country. Let's go to Staten Island.
Yeah,
It was
definitely
like
does not
that.
feel like
My
that.
dad used to vacate.
Oh, can you drive there? No, you got to get on a boat.
My
We
dad
already
grew
got
up-
on a boat from Italy.
My dad grew up
Get on
on,
another one.
in Manhattan, and they used to vacation in Staten Island in the bungalows,
That sounds like a
and then
terrible
like would
vacation.
go back to fucking, and he would like love it, and so much so that they like when they had the chance, they moved to Staten Island.
This was before people had cable TV.
Yeah,
Right?
I mean, this is 1960s,
Yeah, that's fair.
I guess it's like that. Like, hey, we can just get in a car and go down to the beach. I'm sure a lot of people do it. Like, it's the same thing as a lot of people down to Long Island to go to like Rockaway or whatever it's called, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Rock.
But now thinking about it, I don't know what the hell my grandfather on my mom's side was thinking. He like traveled the world. He took my mom and grandma from Germany.
And he's like, here.
You know what? They decided, this is the place. We're gonna stay here out of all places.
Yeah,
to
this is why.
move."
This is why I
We
think
don't want to live in the fun. We want to live fun
They
adjacent.
almost moved to Texas, but his orders got pulled.
Could you imagine if you,
Whatever that's
as
called.
a human,
grew up in Texas.
were from Texas?
It
Oh,
wouldn't
man.
have happened. It wouldn't have met my.
You'd have
My
been
dad.
calling me Buster instead of like fucking idiot, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, Buster.
I think
I wouldn't have been born.
I think New Yorkers, people from New York, are the laziest Americans that exist.
Shut the fuck
And
up.
here because they never went.
What?
They got off the boat and they're just like,
We built the largest city
I'm
in America.
staying here. I'm not going to go any further.
they-
It stops here.
They invented skyscrapers.
Sure.
It's the biggest small town in the world.
Is that on a T-shirt?
People live in New York, and they're like, yeah, we got everything. We're not going to go anywhere.
No,
Where are you going? 44.
Oh, you go to Kansas City? What the fuck? Fuck that place. And that's,
This is why California's better, because everybody had to struggle to get to California. Only the strong survived.
Dude, that's right. Now they have MAGA rallies in San Diego where all the olds went to retire. Florida's full, so they went to the other corner.
Yeah.
Now they're in California and San Diego. But you know what? They're like, it's a little close to Mexico. Let's just move between San Diego and LA, and that's called Orange County. So
yeah. Well, there's Carlsbad and Oceanside and all those places down there between them.
Those are fake cities. Have you seen True Detective season 2?
Yeah.
The shitty one?
Are all fake municipalities built to dodge tax code.
That's a bullshit show. The second season.
Okay.
It was okay. That was the casino one, right? With the Vince Vaughn?
Yeah, Vince
Yeah,
Vaughn.
Vince Vaughn. That was the worst one. It went
right.
nowhere. They had this awesome one, and then a shit one, and then they made another awesome one again.
I don't know
It's like
if I
the
saw
Star
the
Wars
three.
trilogy.
I don't know if I saw the third one.
The third one was with Mahershala Ali,
I don't think I saw
where
it.
he has like dementia or some shit.
Yeah, it was fucking good.
Okay, I'll have to check that out. I get into like half of the shows that I got into and watched for years, I've never finished. Like I've still never watched the final season of Dexter. It took me
It's coming back.
I heard. It took me 5 years to watch like the final episode, the final season of Lost. I never finished Mr. Robot.
So,
because that got
Dexter
weird.
and Lost, the last season suck ass.
Yeah, I've never gone back. Everybody told me don't worry about it.
Like Game of
I
Thrones.
Did you ever
should've
watch
done that.
Breaking Bad?
No, I watched 5 episodes and then didn't watch anymore.
Breaking Bad I can't watch.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
It makes me anxious.
Yeah, okay.
It's like Mad Men. When I watch Mad Men,
Never
I
seen that
simply
either.
want to smoke cigarettes.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. Being that seeing a pack of cigarettes makes you want to smoke a pack. Like, I mean, yeah,
I haven't had a cigarette in almost 10 months.
congratulations.
Or 9 months.
That's really cool.
Yeah. I quit on the 8th of March when people were like, COVID is really crazy. It may affect smokers more. And I literally ran my half pack of cigarettes under the sink and like threw them away. And I told Tessa, I was like, don't let me smoke. I'm going to get COVID. She's like, all right, bet. Never did it.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
Cool. Vaccines in, you're gonna be smoking again. Great.
Yeah.
Smoke up, Johnny!
yeah, I'm almost certainly he's gonna light one up while they're shooting the. Have you heard about the sickness that comes with the vaccine? Like a lot of people have like an immune response to it, where you get sick for like a day or two.
No, I mean, that's pretty standard for most vaccines.
I guess this one's pretty extreme, like lays you out like pretty hard.
Oh,
So
well,
I was
it's
reading.
called
I went into like a Reddit comment section the other day, and it was pretty much just all people who were part of the trials talking about like, oh, the Moderna one made me super sick. Oh, the Pfizer one didn't do that bad, but
yeah.
but yeah, and then people talking to me like, I didn't get sick at all. They're like, well, you clearly had the placebo. You fucking moron.
Oh, yeah, because they have to do like, yeah, I guess
They have to do
so.
control. Yeah.
What if there was like a cool side effect? Well, it's like, I got this vaccine and now I can see through walls.
Right.
You know?
Like
or it makes you sterile.
My toenails trim themselves.
What's the worst part about being sterile? There's too many people on Earth.
Yeah, he's not
anyways.
having kids anyway. He don't care.
Yeah,
Do
but
you want to have kids?
I want to have the option.
Yeah, fair.
Classic white male response.
Wow.
Check your fucking privilege.
Coming
dude.
from a white male. Yeah.
You know what? No, I'm not.
No. Oh,
Yeah.
Go on.
I'm post race.
post race.
Yeah, I don't care anymore.
Is that like a Post Malone reference? Or?
No, I'm past. I'm post race.
Oh, okay.
You don't see colors. What
I don't see color, and I had my
Go home.
my race scrubbed from my birth records.
Okay, you're like Stephen Colbert.
Did he do that?
No. He's back in the Colbert Report. He used to say like, I don't see color. He's like, literally, I don't. He'd make a whole thing out of it, a whole shtick.
That's pretty funny.
Just on a serious note, what do you? So I don't think we've really talked about it. So I'm a little in the dark. What do you do? What is your new place? What is the place you're at right now do? And what do you do there for them?
Yeah. I'm gonna give myself 10 seconds so that we can clip this after the previous topic discussion. Because I don't want that. Okay. That was a joke. Bad joke.
Oh, I got the joke. You don't want.
We'll put the laugh track over it. It's fine.
Yeah, you don't want everybody at work knowing
Boats
that
do
you're
that.
post race.
And
Although
Yeah, this new guy Brett we've never met in person. Yeah, I watched a podcast with him yesterday.
It turns out he's post race.
He's a little radical.
Yeah,
a little
he's
radical.
so unracist that I'm worried that he's racist.
that is when you know somebody's really racist, when they make a huge point to go tell you how not racist.
Oh
they are.
yeah, hey, I'm not a racist, but
But
and why do they always talk like this?
well,
Tell you what, brother, don't see any white people committing crimes. Bullshit. Anyways,
what do you do?
what do you do?
Who's your daddy? What does he do?
Who is your daddy, and what does he do? So I work for Startland, which is a 501c3 nonprofit here in Kansas City, and basically we are an ecosystem building organization. So we help connect small business owners and startup founders with investors, and we put on events. We do an event every year called Startups to Watch. We do a top VC-backed list, usually in the fall, that kind of is a recap of all the local companies that have raised the most venture capital throughout the year. And then we put on an event called Back to KC, which is an initiative to reconnect former Kansas Cityans with their hometown, which I'm the director of.
Is it just a big attempt to get Paul Rudd to move back?
I think that he was tangentially involved in the past, but yeah, that'd be great if we could get him to move back. That'd be really fun.
Yeah, him and who's out there? I know there's a bunch of them.
There's a bunch of those dudes.
The comedian one that's really a big fan of football. He does the Fox morning thing.
The guy from Anchorman?
Not him. But he's one of them too, but
yeah.
There is the other one. I forget his name.
There's like Eric Stone Street and Paul Rudd, a few different people. But yeah, so no, this is more, originally it was invented by Darcy Howe of the Casey Rise Fund as a way to kind of mimic an event that they put on in Detroit called the Detroit Homecoming.
Okay.
Which is sort of the same concept, right? It's like, hey, we have a city that was built. It was this industry giant for years and years, and now there's been all this attrition of people like leaving, and there's what they called brain drain.
Yeah.
So you grow up, you're educated, and then you get out either right after high school or right after college. So you don't reinvest your talents and education back in your community.
Yeah, anybody who has anything worth doing, it leaves to go do it somewhere where there's an opportunity.
Right.
Yeah.
And that has been the disparity, right? Is that like there's not enough opportunity in Kansas City, and we can't keep the people, but if we want to keep the people to create opportunity, you know, what chicken or the egg sort of thing. So Darcy kind of was inspired by Detroit Homecoming and started it here in 2018. It was originally kind of concepted as like a talent pipeline for local startups and tech businesses to like capture, you know, there's a guy that went to a Shawnee Mission School, I believe, who went off to become the co-founder of Tinder.
Okay.
And he lives out in California, and he's attending this weekend.
Okay.
So there's like people like that kind of like, oh, you went off and now you're the chief technical officer, you're the head of marketing. And we're like, hey, come just kind of revisit Kansas City. So we used to fly these people in and like show them around, and it was like a 2-day thing. We go to a Royals game or do a tour downtown. And it was really fun. But with COVID this year, we had to kind of pivot, and we're doing it all online over 2 days. It's 6 1-hour sessions. My associate, Kemet Coleman, is putting it on with me. He's the director of marketing and experiences for Startland. He's created some pretty cool visuals to accompany these panel and Q&A sessions. He'll be moderating the 3 sessions on Thursday, and then we have a couple guest moderators for 2 sessions on Friday, and I'm moderating the closing session, which is a Q&A session with people who've moved back to Kansas City, and a couple people who moved to Kansas City for the first time. Okay. Which, kind of sitting here talking with you guys, similar experience. You know, you kind of saw Kansas City as an opportunity to do what you wanted to do. So, yeah, and then, you know, the other half of our business at Startland is we work in alternative education. So we focus a lot on like STEM learning, real world experience, and design thinking. So it's kind of like, how do we fill the gaps in modern education? Because if you get into the way that America treats its education system versus the way that a lot of other countries do, we are in like dead last.
Yeah, I think the 2 biggest problems there are, one, we're dealing with an antiquated education system that was designed to create workers for a workforce that no longer exists.
Right.
And second of all, it doesn't give a whole lot of freedom to the outliers in either direction, where you have exceptionally talented people who are expected to fit inside of a box. Right. And you have people who need a lot of help who are also expected to fit inside of that box. And the cultivation of any particular skill set that they can excel at isn't encouraged. Yeah,
and it's really it's discouraging as well to even like look at the prospect of having children. I'm sure you're experiencing this with your daughter, but like, you know, it's really sad that in all of our Back to KC research that so much information that people want to find out about moving to Kansas City if they have children,
it's
where do I move
Yeah.
to get my kid into the best public school so that I don't have to pay to put them in private school?
Exactly.
And like it's almost like this double-edged sword of like either or. Like either you live downtown and you pay to have your kid go to an expensive private school that will give them a good education,
or you live out in the fucking
or you
boonies.
live out in the middle of nowhere where they have the best schools because they have more money and whatever to pay the teachers. And I think that I know that so much of that has become like a socioeconomical disparity.
Yes.
Because of white flight, they took the money with them. They took the funding for education, and then these inner city schools, quote unquote, like if you say the word inner city school to anyone, they immediately have a perception of what type of kid attends that school.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
And I think that's super fucked up. And that's part of what we're trying to do is like present opportunities to underprivileged communities while also engaging the kids in the suburbs and mixing all those people together in like a virtual setting and in-person settings when we're able.
Right.
So it's pretty inspiring work. I sort of kind of to back on what I said earlier is like if you would have told me 6 years ago I'd be back in Kansas City working here, I don't think I would have believed you, much less be working for a nonprofit that has so much involvement in education.
Right.
And it's a passion point of mine that I didn't realize I had until I started doing it. I was very much brought on board to be like, oh, you do the marketing, social media, whatever. Also, you might be a great leader for this Back to KC thing. And then like I got hired, really took the Back to KC thing under my wing, but also just like have been doing so much work with our education team that it's really, really wonderful to see. And like the lasting experiences and the results that you get out of these kids. I mean, it's insane how if you just engage them and engage their brains in the right way, that they almost, it's like a paradigm shift.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of what is 2 + 2 equal, it is how might you find out what you can make 4 of, and so they're like, oh shit, like no one ever asked me that. They ask me what's the answer. They don't ask me how to ask the question to find the answer. So
That's and just speaking from a tiny bit of personal experience, I've had the opportunity to speak at like young entrepreneur type events before and stuff like that, and that stuff is I think my favorite thing about ever doing that is you'll have 5 people who give speeches who are very like prototypical what you'd expect somebody to do after college. They maybe own a car dealership or they own their own accounting firm or something like that. Like, kind of things that like nobody's like inspired by. Like it doesn't sound sexy.
right.
And then they're all every one of them is like, here's where I went to high school. I got good grades. I worked my way through college. They paved this like very hard path forward, and then I get up and I'm like, hi, my name's Sam Dean. I dropped out of high school when I was 17. I didn't go to college, and I traveled around the country in a van for 5 years, and then decided to start a business.
Yeah.
And here's how and why, and these are my motivations, and these are the hurdles, and this is the struggle.
Yeah.
And paint a completely different picture of like, hey, sometimes that way works, but sometimes so does the other way.
At
the end of the day, you have to put your fingerprints on it.
Yeah, right.
And it's got to work the way you want it to work. And so seeing people's kind of like, especially because, you'll look out and you'll see kids who very much look as though they are being encouraged by some probably very good parents, but to go to school and to rack up that student debt and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And, I'm not saying that is necessarily bad for everyone, but I think it's definitely a thing that a lot of people do just because they're told to or think that's the only option.
Yeah.
And it's nice to be able to just give them like, hey, that's not the only way. That's not the only option.
Right. And you've been an advocate for this since I've known you.
Right.
And I think there's 100% so much validity in that, and we are fighting a stigma. We are fighting a paradigm shift, which is, I don't want to call it big education because that makes me sound like a fucking conspiracy theorist, but I think people just have never stopped to ask when they're making their budget, how much money should we put into teaching kids how to become entrepreneurs?
Right.
How much money should we put into having a startup jam,
or even just the basics. I mean, like, even if you remove like even the entrepreneurial side from it, if you just give people a better understanding of some core concepts that people don't understand. I mean, more adults don't understand how compound interest works.
Right.
I mean, somehow we all know, like we were taught how to balance checkbooks, up well into the 2000s when it was clearly becoming an antiquated thing to have to do. You should have been explained how to do online banking and how to understand how that the available sum in your account is not necessarily those are not all processed transactions, because I hear fucking 30-year-olds who are taught how to balance a checkbook, but overdraft their checking account once a week because they didn't realize that there was still a processing transaction.
Right.
You know, it's like we missed the mark on a lot of these educational things, and with the world transforming quicker than ever, that is only going to get worse. We're only getting further and further away from the education that you actually need. Well,
and it will get worse unless we participate in the conversations, in shaping the future for future generations of people. And you know,
people don't want to bother because
that's the thing.
I'm not a kid in high school. Who gives a shit?
Well,
I went through it, so you got to deal with that shit. You know what I mean? That's the attitude.
And even if you are a kid in high school, what do you care?
You're almost done.
I'm almost done. I want to get out of here.
Yeah, that's all. That's all.
My grandma died, and her dead money is going to pay for my college, and I'm going to go get fucked up.
Waste it.
Yeah, I'm going to get a business degree.
Hold on, I got to do this trigonometry test that I'm never going to fucking use.
Right.
Which you might use, or you could if it's your passion, but like you should be allowed to pick other shit to do.
And I like Santa's workshop is in the background if anyone's hearing the hammering.
It is that time of year.
Lots of toys.
Is that downstairs or up here?
It's downstairs.
Okay.
He's building a fucking truck or something.
Yeah.
I do have to be out of here in a minute, but
I have 2 questions for you, and then you can bounce.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. One, if I move Plug Your Holes out of Kansas City, will you fly me back in to go to Royals games?
Yeah, honestly.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
sure.
We'll work on that. Texas has really good taxes, so I'll buzz down there. And
I love it.
And then you can fly me back for Royals games. Number 2, you know, it's funny. There's a term that gets thrown around a lot, and I don't know what the broader definition of it is and what you guys consider it, but like I've been referred to as a startup, but I've been not referred to as what is a startup? I mean, I know what a startup is in fundamental, but at what point in time are you no longer the startup? At what point in time are you just a business? You know.
Startup was a term I think that was, and someone could crucify me if this is incorrect, but I think the term startup carries a connotation, especially with like the tech boom, even well into the late 90s and early 2000s, that it is a company that is small, oftentimes bootstrapped with your own money or a meager investment from friends and family that you build with a large internet component at its core. So you, as an e-tailer, could be considered a startup when in reality you're probably just a guy that used the internet to grow your small business on an exponential scale.
Right.
You didn't invent or write code.
Right.
You didn't make your own website on your own.
I'm a traditional entrepreneur using modern methods.
But I think that people like to use the word startup because it's trendy and
very much so. Yeah.
It's automatically like that sort of mentality. What's his name? Fucking Gary V.
Yeah.
He loves to get on
crush it, dude.
Podcasts and be like, if you don't wake up at 6 a.m. and wipe your ass with your toothbrush, you're gonna fail. Like that. Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, he does.
But he says shit like that, and someone's like, "Fuck, I gotta do that." I'm an entrepreneur, But I think startup, you could be a startup. You can call yourself a startup. There's no startup.
I guess I don't even care. So I'm very much.
We've been doing this for 14 years.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no more start.
Yeah, it's like we've started.
We're up.
It's running.
Bitch, I'm up.
We up. No, I mean more like that sense of because I'm not somebody who cares about titles. I basically tell all of our employees, hey, if you guys go apply for a job somewhere else, just say whatever title that's going to make them happy, and then I'll say that's what you did.
Yeah.
I just don't care. Yeah. But the same thing with the business is I don't call myself.
I care about titles.
There you go. Okay. I don't call myself the CEO. I don't call myself, I don't have founder in my signature.
You were cat wrangler for a while.
I was cat wrangler on my signature for a while. Now it just says sent from my thumbs.
But you did formally give me the general manager title.
I did because I know you
sitting
care.
down at
Joe,
dinner
it's
and
fine.
you gave
yeah,
it to me.
you're the GM,
yeah,
dude.
but you can't just go out there and tell the world.
No,
you don't care about titles.
No. But here's the thing: general manager is literally a description of what you do.
Yeah, but also this is what I'm saying. This is some Gary V shit. You're like, oh, what's the title?
Sure.
It is. My track record speaks for itself. Fuck out of here. Titles are easy ways for people to identify what it is you do.
Sure.
You're a founder.
Some of them get a little
whether
grandiose.
you like it or not.
Sure. Some of them get a little grandiose.
Tickle Me Elmos and Nintendo Xboxes. And
sure.
now you made $1 million. You've made $1 million.
Yeah.
Pick up the phone. It's Gary V.
He's
calling you.
I think the reason
shit.
I think the reason I don't like titles is because people just try to get really grandiose with them. You'll call a company and you're dealing with somebody that's pretty low level, but they're like the senior
senior account advisor.
You're
assistant.
just like you're just like for fuck's sake, just you're the fucking you're somebody in IT or you're
I'm
somebody
the assistant to
in
the
support.
original manager.
Right. Dude, the worst though, on the opposite end of that is we would work with so many companies at Metro that you'd have like agents, and it would be like agent intern number 3, and I'm like, damn, dude, you don't even have a name. This company doesn't even like you enough to give you your own email. You use the same recycled email that is intern assistant number 3.
That's
and
rough.
See, and that's the thing. Is
That's
like,
why we're a first name company.
a title's nice. I think a title's nice. It's I don't think you should put your entire being into it. I don't think you should let it get to anyone's head.
Right.
But I think it's nice to be like, I'm a manager of something. I've put the time in. I'm the director of something. You know, like if I introduce myself as like, hi, I do program back to KC. Mm-hmm. No, I'm the director of a program.
And don't get me wrong, we do have titles. I mean, Andy is the shipping manager.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, if Andy was going to go move on to another company or something like that, and he's like, hey, I think that they might want something a little more grandiose than that. I would be
Sure.
like, I'm going nuts, man. I don't care. Yeah. Whatever gets you the job. But internally, I feel that like there's been a lot of like flashy titles that get thrown around within very small companies to make them seem like it's not just 3 guys and 4 laptops. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's kind of where my head's at, is like, general manager is a descriptive title, but it's also a title that's existed in companies for 100 years.
When I worked at with KU, there were some titles that were longer than their bios. When that happens, it's too much.
Yeah. It's when they had to introduce the king back in the day. I'd be like, the Lord of Wellington, Duke of the Yorks.
Fifth of his name.
Yeah, 5th of his name, Master of Ceremonies. Yeah,
longest of schlong.
Yeah. His Highness.
Yeah. No, I think titles are an interesting thing. They're funny. I love, like you're saying, like people get really inventive, and it's like you kind of can suss out who you're dealing with based on their title. But I will say the people that really have like made leaps and bounds that have earned those titles are kind of remarkable. To like, you look at their track record and you're like, oh fuck, 5 years ago you came on as an intern and now you are the chief of product for this tech company, and it's like, damn, that's someone I want to know. You know, I had a conversation with some of the guys in our group chat with like Cameron and our buddy Rob, who works for SiriusXM in New York. And there's this kid who made this LinkedIn post that was like a selfie in front of their dirty mirror with like a bunch of shit in the background. And you guys probably heard about that actor that had a snafu with a director last week, I think, where he like tuned in for a Zoom interview and the director thought his mic was muted but wasn't.
Yeah, I heard that.
And he's like, I'm looking at this shitty apartment with his TV in his living room, and this guy's like, I know it sucks. Give me the job. I want to move out of this apartment. And the director got really embarrassed. And he's like, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize I was off mute. I really didn't mean that. And he like wrote this public apology. But this kid in my life on this fucking LinkedIn, he like made this post that I thought was like it just didn't seem right. It's like, don't put this on LinkedIn, you know? Like, LinkedIn is a professional networking platform. You'll put that shit on Twitter, that's fine. But like, don't call people, I think he called someone like an asshole or something.
On LinkedIn?
On LinkedIn, right. And I sent it to the group as like, haha, look at this is stupid. And we got to talking, and it's like, well, if that's your authentic self, shouldn't you post that? Like, is LinkedIn an echo chamber, or is Facebook an echo chamber, or is are we all now delegated to like posting what we think belongs on the platform just to like keep the platform going?
Being plastic, and so everybody perceives us as something better than we actually are.
Right.
There is not a whole lot of organic, self-deprecating posting going on in social media. I mean, it exists in the comedic side, but it's not like you don't have people, and then there is kind of this like maybe like there's a combination of people like with mental health stuff where people are being like, hey, there's part of it that's like, I think some people post with the like intention of feel sorry for me. Yeah. And there's the other side that's, hey, I'm here for you. I struggle with these things too. And you do get a little, I think there's a movement towards being more authentic in social media. But yeah, at the same time, I don't know the answer to that one because I don't necessarily want to hire that person.
That's what I said. So. And I was like, if I'm a recruiter, if at Metro, I was in charge of hiring a lot of interns, or not in charge, but I assisted with it. Especially for our marketing team, I was kind of the final interview and the final say. If I looked at your resume and it was like kind of there, but I like check out your LinkedIn and it's like, non-existent or something like that, I'm usually kind of forgiving. But if I go to like your social media and you're applying for a marketing position, and I go to your social media and you're an idiot or you're shit posting or whatever, if it's like funny, that's one thing. But if you're like being a dick and you have no interactions, I'm like, what's the point of this? And why do you want to do this
You're
job?
just yelling into the wind.
Right. You're like,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
just like,
because you're good at social media doesn't mean you're good at social media.
right.
Like you can be compelling and entertaining and a complete moron just because you're throwing enough gasoline on a fire that
Sure.
eventually it's going to burn. But the idea to have complex and compelling ideas that are going to make this company a better place, that's a whole other story.
Right.
And it takes a different kind of I think because everybody grew up with social media, some people are naturally good at certain elements of it.
Sure.
But that doesn't mean that it's necessarily good for a business in that regard. Where the flip side of that is there are people who truly understand how to make something grow and how to get the snowball rolling.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But I will let you go because I know you got to get out of here.
Yeah, gents, thanks so much for having me on. It's been a lot of fun to kind of catch up.
Brett Crawford, always one of my favorite people to talk to.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for watching. You can follow me at Brett_CRA on Instagram, and
Brett Craw.
you can sub to my OnlyFans.
Okay, nice. Do you have a link tree that I can get to that with?
You can just go to OnlyFans/Harry Daddy Feet.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. Daddy DADDI.
Well, with that being said, thanks everyone for watching, and thanks for everyone for listening. We'll see you next week. We shouldn't have any more interruptions due to the holidays, so we should be back next week just fine.
Cool.
All right,
I
bye,
think
everybody.
Josh wants to try to be on the podcast.
Sure.
He
let's
said
do
he
it.
would, but he can only be available Mondays.
No, then he can't be on the podcast.
Oh,
Yeah.
All right,
It's no good.
We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.